Hello, and welcome to a different type of video than I usually make. If you are new here, just so you know, my name is Shin. I do mainly Dokkan Battle content. I've been playing gacha games for an incredibly long time. If you really need a resume that bad, just know that back when I was in early middle school, I was playing a little game called Brave Frontier. So just know that I've been in this space for a very long time, not really in content creation, but just in the space for a while. If you're not new here, this is just a different type of video that I wanted to make, mainly because I have been playing the Zenless Zone Zero closed beta test for quite a while now. As you can see, I'm level 34 up here. Now, I didn't play this like consistently for a very long time. I pretty much did a week straight and then let it have time to, you know, do its own thing so that I can develop my actual proper opinion on this. Now, I am a yapper, and before I get to yapping entirely about this game and everything that I do like and everything I don't like and everything like that, just know that I'm not using a script or anything. I literally have the most bootleg Google document pulled up on my other monitor, and that I'm just going to be kind of rattling off whatever plot points here that I do, things that I like, things that I don't like, things like that of that nature. So just hopping right on into it now. So just so everyone is fully aware, this is still in closed beta. As you can see on the bottom here, it says that this is a test version and does not represent the quality of the final game, and that is going to probably remain true. I do not know what they plan on changing, anything going forward. I just know that this is all closed beta things and is subject to change. Now, starting off, this game eats during combat. This game has probably some of the most fun combat I've played in a very, very long time. I do have some footage of some like combat that I probably will splice into here and show off willy-nilly throughout this. So I do think that combat is by far one of the like best features of this game. It is just incredibly fluid. It just flows really, really well, and you're constantly able to, you know, weave in different combos, different characters, able to really like spice up your different play style depending on whatever kind of characters you do really like. My team setup is mainly focused around 3 characters, being Grace, Onbi here, and then Billy. All 3 of these are the ones that I've been using the most. I think they're pretty fun. I know a lot of people don't really care for like Onbi and like Billy because they're like basically the starter characters that you get at the very beginning of the game. I just think they're fun, and Grace is just the first 5-star I got, and I was like, come on, let me use her, let me see how she is, and turns out she's really fun to play. So I've been mainly focusing on them, and we're trying to learn all their combos and stuff like that. I think they're legitimately some of the most fun things that I've like messed around with. It just works synergy-wise out really, really well. And then you might be able to hear it as I'm yapping, but in the actual combat, all the sound design of all the things that when you're hitting stuff and like the actual reactions to the enemies that they have to your bullets and to your combos, it just sounds and feels really, really fluid as you're doing it. Everything in it just kind of works, right? I have literally 0 issues with the combat. It's a little bit easy, but I think that just comes with the fact that it's a Hoyoverse game, and their games don't tend to be very difficult. I do like that this game has a different parry mechanic, has different kind of mechanics like that, so you can actually have a little bit more of engaging combat with the enemies, but it's not necessarily a hard game. There are a couple bosses that are definitely challenging, but it's not hard. As long as you're decent at timing and you're manipulating iframes properly, it is not hard whatsoever. Though this does kind of step into a different thing that I like talking about. The majority of this game does revolve around this daily energy system. It is called like their battery life, basically, and most of the things do cost battery life. Everything does cost battery except for what is the equivalent if you've played Honkai Star Rail to the simulated universe. That does not cost battery, and neither does the story mode. Pretty much everything else costs battery in this game, which does bring into this one point here. Every single day you are able to walk into this coffee shop and buy a coffee. Now, what is great is, as you can see here, there's an event going on. For a full week, we're able to buy 2 different cups of coffee. Now, obviously, these event coffees are literally just for decoration, and I'll go ahead and buy one here completely for free. I am able to buy a coffee, and it'll give me what is the equivalent of either a fuel or a fragile resin in either Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, just completely for free. Every single day, it'll be able to top this up for you. So in total, you start off with 240 as your max cap of energy, and then you're able to buy a battery charge of 60 completely for free every single day, which I like. I think these do cost a little bit of money, but as you can see, it doesn't really matter, right? It's essentially free, and a lot of them do also give perks and buffs to specific things that you wanted to farm for in that day. So for instance, if I wanted to farm for a fire character, I can go in here, buy this fire coffee, right? And this will now give me a buff to fire skill drop rates. So now I'll get even more fire chips when I go and farm those later if I really wanted to farm for a fire character. I think that is a really good way of doing this, and as we can see here, right, if I go back into the menu, I now have significantly higher fuel than I had before, right? It is just completely topped me up entirely. Almost a full half of my maximum energy I now have to just spend however I want. I think that is an incredible thing that they added in this game. It makes me happy to play it every single day. Granted, I'm not currently doing that just because I don't want to burn out on the closed beta test. That's not really what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to get a feel for the game and then tell you guys how things are, so when this game does officially release, I'm able to like cover that more properly and be able to have like a concrete kind of idea of what's going to go on leading into the game. So now that we do have a bunch of energy, I might as well just hop into like some random event or something, because another thing that I think is really, really important that this game does is it has a story mode skip button. So whenever you go into like a story mission or anything like that, and anyone is just kind of like yapping along, let's see, I think I have a story mission here. Of course, there is normal and hard versions, and there's also a difficulty selector at the very beginning of the game. That way you can like pick whatever you want. But whenever you're talking to literal anybody, if it's irrelevant to like a story, like it pulls up a menu and it has like the avatars talking to each other, there's an entire like ellipsis menu, right, that you can pull down, and you can either pause it from them talking automatically, or you can just straight up skip it entirely. If you're someone like me who just wants to play the game and does not care about like all the dialogue and everything, like the minor dialogue, you can just skip it. You don't gotta sit there and hear them yap on about whatever the hell they're talking about all day and all night, right? You can just immediately be like, nope, I don't want to hear it, I'm skipping it, and I'm gonna go and play the actual game now. Now, I do also want to touch on a different thing in relation to the fire cup that I bought earlier from the coffee store. You are able to farm for multiple different kinds of materials at the exact same time, customizably. So if you go into, for instance, let's see, can I exit out of here? Yeah, I can. I can actually like completely customize what I want to farm when I want to farm it. So, and I can also do that for multiple different characters at a time. So let's go ahead and take a look at this here, right? So you go over to this VR device and you can do, say I'm doing combat simulation. You can do custom, and this allows you to pick from any of the equipment farmings that you wanted to do. I have a character, her name is Soldier 11. She is a fire like DPS character. So what I would go ahead and do is I would be like, okay, cool. I need DPS stuff. Let's see, I need some fire chips because she's a fire element. So where's the fire chips? I think they're up here because it's boosted up rates. And then, you know, maybe I'll farm up a little bit of character XP just because I want to be able to level her up a little bit more. I can do that. I'll be able to farm up every single one of these at the exact same time in the same stage, all for 100 battery. That is amazing to be able to do. Obviously, you're going to get diminishing returns because as you can see here, right, the more I select, say for instance, this fire chips, the more I'm going to get in one run. So you do get a smaller amount of stuff, but you can do it across all of it and save yourself a little bit of time of going back and forth between different domains, different menus, right? You can just all do it in one menu and just be like, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to get right now, and you can get it done and do it and move on. That is an incredibly efficient way of doing this kind of thing that I do really, really appreciate in a game like this, because it cuts out a lot of the boring menuing and gets you into playing the game more, which is something that this game, again, does really, really well. Between the story skip button, this farm selector, everything pretty much allows you to just go ahead and play the game more, which I do like a lot. And as you can kind of see here, we do have a lot of different kind of enemy variety. Some guys, they're like more projectile based, some they're in your face more. There's really big bosses that are just one massive enemy with a bunch of HP. You got enemies that are a bunch of really small enemies that come at you kind of freakishly. You got tanks, you got these weird corrupted enemies. You got a lot of cool stuff in here that I do really think is cool. And then another thing is, if you're kind of like nervous and you don't know who you want to play, every single character that you obtain gets this combat trial. So let's go ahead and do one, for instance, Soldier 11 that I was talking about. It'll show you a kind of pseudo team comp that it'll recommend for you. You can hop on in and it'll give you an exact combo tutorial for that character. The one thing that I don't like about these combo tutorials is that they make the enemy like giga tanky for no reason, but they allow you to pretty much just wail on a couple of like fodder mobs to get a kind of feel of what you're actually doing in the character's like moveset. So if we look at this, right, it's going to give me a brief tutorial here. Her basic stuff. She does fire damage when she attacks. It'll allow you to basically just show off, hey, yeah, she's doing fire damage now, right? I actually think she's kind of cool. She's basically Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. If you're really into Demon Slayer, you're probably going to like Soldier 11. She is a standard banner character. And then it also will give you kind of more information here. After she uses her EX special attack, which is when the little button is going to be like pink, she'll basically have fire damage on everything. So after I use this, now she has fire damage on every single one of her skills. So now I'll be able to actively use fire damage, which of course is her main gimmick, and it's what she wants to be using constantly. So it tells you pretty much everything you need to know. When I was messing around with Onbi previously, I did not know that she had a different mechanic in terms of how she's supposed to like play herself. So if I switch over to her, right, Onbi, this is her basic regular combo string. If you're just mashing the M1 button, right? If you decide that you don't want to mash and you want to just do something different, she has a timing thing, which looks like this. If I don't get hit and I'm trying to just show it off, it looks like something like this. Okay, the enemies do not want to... You can hold down the M1 and it'll do a different combo and it'll combo into something else. I did not know that was a thing because I was just doing the mashing because that's what I assumed every single character kind of had. But most of these characters have different kind of mechanics in how their actual attack strings go out that'll affect what they can combo into a different character. And every single one of your characters, kind of like in a fighting game, has the ability to linger on screen. So as you're fighting, if they're mid-attack, so for instance, she's mid-attack, she'll stay on screen and finish her attack before she leaves. So you're able to like have them out and combo that into a different move. That way they're able to completely do their action while you're doing another action. And since this game has something called that they call anomalies, right? That's basically their debuff mechanic. It's when like a fire character inflicts burn or something like that, right? That is triggered by that element type being hit on an enemy a lot, so they'll build up an anomaly and then they'll get procced by the debuff. So if you're able to have a character like Soldier 11 who's hitting an enemy with fire, even when they're not on field, you'll be able to proc a different element at the same time and use that to your advantage to do more damage. I think that is incredibly cool of a combo system, and I like it a lot. And the fact that this has an entire tutorial centered around each specific character and what they're able to do and what they're able to bring to a specific team like scenario, I think that just works really, really. Now, that's all for like the actual combo stuff, because that's just the main thing I wanted to talk about. Obviously, they've been doing events and stuff throughout this game, and I have not really been playing that much, but as you can clearly see, they have different kinds of events for different kinds of players, right? This is an arcade mode event, which is something that you can do even if you don't have any battery. This is just little arcade games. You're going to be able to get free rewards from doing that. We have the trial characters. We have this event, which is like your standard typical patch per patch event in either Honkai Star or Genshin Impact, where it has a little bit of story in it, you do a little bit of a fun activity and you get some free rewards. And then of course you have the coffee thing, which is essentially what I showed earlier, where you get that double the double coffee for the day. You do also have your patch by patch free 10 pull, which again is really good. Honkai Star Rail has been doing this for pretty much every single patch since they came out, and it's obviously been a huge hit. So this is obviously a really good thing that they have for you. Now, this is something that I think is going to be kind of overlooked by a lot of people. If you've played Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, you know that every single month you're able to buy summons from the shop with your like duplicate points. See, as you can see here, I have 5 left of both of these. If I were to buy every single one of these 5 premium pulls and these 5 standard pulls, instead of it just going away and me not being able to buy pulls anymore from this shop, instead of just completely disappearing, it's just going to be able to let me buy them on the non-discounted price. Which again, if you've played those games, Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, they don't let you do that. This works for both of this banner as well as the Bang Boo banner, which is a completely free-to-play banner. Everything that you get from this summon is entirely free to play. You cannot spend money on this Bang Boo banner at all. It's not possible. All of the rewards from this are completely free. You just go out, you play the Hollow Zero, and you get these awards. You can get these Bang Boos for free. I've already been able to hit an S rank Bang Boo from this completely for free. Again, because you cannot spend money. I have gotten a few, I think I've got like 90 pulls on this banner. I've gotten my free 5-star. I did lose, right? The 50-50. It happens. This game does have a 50-50 system, though I believe for the W engines here, these are your standard weapons. These are a 75-25, so very similar to Honkai Star Rail. They're pretty good. A lot of these are pretty interesting. I don't think it's kind of worth it to spend like summon on these banners unless you really, really want to, but like it is what it is. And then for when it comes to this standard banner, right? Your first 30 pulls, well, I believe it's 30. Your first 30 pulls are going to guarantee you a standard banner 5-star. You're going to automatically get one, and it's going to be on this banner. So it's going to build pity towards what this is, which is a free standard banner selector, which again is always good to have. Me personally, I think you just go for whatever character matches whatever team you want to build. They all do their own very specific stuff. So you'd have to like actually look into it and see, oh, who will fit my type of thing. Because I feel like in this game, it's going to be less of what character is meta and more about if you're able to synergize properly. And I think that's going to matter a lot in terms of going forward and going into the end game of this. Because I don't think I have meta character is going to be the top tier thing. I think it's going to be, does my team flow properly? I think that's going to be way more important than anything else in this game. It does also have a pity counter. You can't see it right now because my Yapinator head is kind of blocking it. But there is a pity counter, so you'll always know how far away you are from the 5-star without actually being able to have to count every single time you go through the history details. You don't have to do that. It'll just tell you how far away you are, which is really, really cool. That's pretty much everything for like the like section. Again, it is kind of a lot, and I did kind of yap. I know this video is already about 17-18 minutes. It's been a long time, but that's just because I have so much good stuff to say about this game, because I really do want it to do well, and I want you guys to know exactly what I think is good in this game and what I think it can be improved on, which is what we're going to kind of touch into now. I have problems with a very, very few things, but the things that I do have problems with are, I think, significant in my opinion. One of which is entirely the UI. There's different UI things that I think are kind of overloaded and kind of ridiculous. Like, obviously, you can look at this screen here. Look at how many goddamn buttons there are on the screen. You can click every single one of these and it'll do something. That is so many different UI elements. You have the battle pass, the summon, the store, the travel to different areas, the agents move, which you can like see all this, which has all these different layouts and buttons and all this kind of thing, right? The UI is very, very clever. There are so many things in here that I feel like they can kind of condense. Like this more should have more in it. You have all these empty buttons, put the options in here, put other stuff in here, that way it's not cluttering up the entirety of this. I don't see why the storage, the more button, the like handbook for like to what you can do today, maybe you can leave that here, right? But there's just so much stuff just on the screen at all times when you're just in the generic menus. And then if we go into the agent menu here, when you're in this menu, which is your character progress mode, you can't see it on here, but there is a promotion rewards button in the corner that does not get highlighted when you actually reach one of these tiers. Once you promote, this has like a very small little dot on it that'll tell you that, hey, you have a promotion. It'll like start spinning instead of just being stationary. It'll be like, it'll start glowing a little bit. And then you can click in here and grab your free single pull. But like, it's so out of the way and in the corner that it's kind of hard to kind of see. And then if we go into their equipment menu, I think this is kind of bloated. They do basically a 6-piece equipment system, which is another thing I'm not really a big fan of. We do kind of have that same thing in Star Rail, where it's a 4-piece main set and then a 2-piece inner set. But this instead is just a full 6-piece. There are no 6-piece sets currently in the game, but you can mix and match 2 pieces and 4 pieces to be able to do different things. And I do think that the equipment like variety is cool and interesting. As you can see, this one gives crit rate, this one gives attack and energy regen. You got interesting stuff in here. I just think that it's kind of a really bloated. And then if you do go in and you try to upgrade one of these, you have to go into this little arrow here, which isn't really obvious. And then you can add to next stage, right? And usually in a game like Star Rail, or Genshin Impact, once you hit this upgrade button, it'll pop up and show you what you got. Now, if I do it here, what did I get? Can you tell me what stat I just got? You might be able to see it over here, but I doubt you can tell. Once I exit this, now it'll tell you what I put. That's not good for me, because you're able to keep leveling from here, from this menu, and level it all the way up. But you won't be able to know what stat you leveled up until after you've already done it, which I think is really, really weird to me. I feel like it wouldn't be that hard because to just put it here. As you can see, they have the main slot up there, which, if in my opinion, is not the slot that I need to be seeing. I need to see what the substats are, because like obviously if you get more HP, if your HP is your main stat, when you level it up, your HP main stat's going to go up. I think personally this should be where all 4 of the substats should be, and you can actually see what substats you're getting as it's going up and up and up. That would make a lot more sense to me, but for some reason they just don't do that, and it bothers me kind of greatly. So I think this entire disk drive menu is just kind of gross. Not, I guess gross is a bad word. I just don't like it personally because I feel like it is inefficient. It's not giving me the information that I want to see, and I think will be helpful for people when they're trying to roll equipment. That and the fact that there are so many different types of equipment in here and so many different main stats and substats that you can potentially get, it is going to be very hard to get decent equipment in this game, and you're going to have to grind. Different characters are going to want tons of different things. There are so many different main and substats. You got anomaly proficiency here. You got anomaly mastery. You got crit rate, crit damage, attack, HP. You got the penetration. You got again. You have all these different things. You have percentages and flats. There is a lot. I mean, a lot of potential for things to go wrong in your equipment, and it's gonna happen. I'm just gonna say this right now. People are gonna get frustrated with this, and it's just gonna be how it is. And there's not really a whole lot you can do about it. Now, aside from this, I think the majority of this game's systems work really, really well. There is one other system that I'm not really a huge fan of, and this technically is because it's the Bang Boos, right? Now, the Bang Boos, as I mentioned previously, you get those entirely for free by playing the Hollow Zero. However, to upgrade these Bang Boos is a kind of different story that I'm not really a huge fan of. If you go and you look over here at the Bang Boo store, this is the remodeling shop, right? This is where you go to enhance your Bang Boos. Every single one of these Bang Boos can be upgraded and leveled up with these little points here. These are all obtained by playing the Hollow Zero and by like ranking up in there, right? So you can go ahead and you can rank these up. To actually awaken them, you need these pieces, which are, this is the duplicates, right? This will increase different things in your Bang Boo, and you'll be able to make them stronger and stronger and stronger. Some of these are summonable, some of these are not, right? It is what it is. There's this one, which is a free one. You get this by leveling up in the Hollow Zero, right? All the Bang Boos also have team synergies that they want to be functioning with. As you can see, this one requires you to have a cunning hair character in your team to be able to do more damage, which I guess it makes these very situational in terms of different team comps, which is more customization, which I do like. And because these are free, it's not really that bad of a thing to do, in my opinion. But where things get kind of quirky here is when you go to modify these Bang Boos, the Bang Boos themselves have equipment. As you can see here, my Bang Boo gets 10% attack, 40% crit damage, and 60% anomaly buildup rate, right? In order to get these, you have to go to this tiny little shop icon and open this up. Do we see anything from here? This is the material used to upgrade your Bang Boo. So if you want your Bang Boo to do damage and get decent upgrades, you're going to have to spend the material that you use to upgrade the Bang Boos. Now, the problem with this is it's also what you need to use to buy the rank up material for the Bang Boos. So you have to decide, do I want to level up my Bang Boo? Do I want to rank up my Bang Boo? Or do I want to get equipment for my Bang Boo? And I think that is kind of an issue. It should not be every single one of these pieces as the same exact material. Why are the only, because by the way, the only material that is droppable from the Hollow Zero is this one, is the XP material. You cannot get any of the other materials from actually playing the Hollow Zero. You do get some of the rank up materials just by like playing the game and ranking up, but they're very, very few and far between. So if you want to rank up different ones of Bang Boos for different kind of team setups, because obviously you want customization, right? You want to be able to use different types of teams, and different types of Bang Boos are only going to be usable in different team setups. You won't be able to do that unless you grind the absolute hell out of the Hollow Zero, which is incredibly long. Playing the Hollow Zero, if you played Simulated Universe before Acheron came out in Honkai Star Rail, you know how long that takes to complete one run. The Hollow Zero is practically the same length, but with more combat. You're constantly in combat, you're constantly going through these like TV sections that you can double speed through, but there's so much dialogue in there that you're kind of sifting through a bunch of dialogue. So just to get a couple of these, because you only get very, very few, you get like 5 to 10 per run. And now I'm at the lower levels. Maybe you get more when you're higher level. I have no idea. Maybe this will change once the game actually fully releases. But you don't get very many of these XP materials. As you can see, I only have one Bang Boo who's even ranked up to 40. All the rest are stuck at level 20 because I just can't get any more of these. I just can't. I don't have the resources to do that unless I grinded out Hollow Zero all day, which obviously I don't want to be doing. I want to be doing other things. I want to be playing and building up my characters. I want to be doing their version of the Abyss. I want to be doing all this kind of stuff, and I just can't do that if I want to have a decent Bang Boo, right? So I think that is kind of an issue here that I think they need to improve on. Either make it so that when you do go to modify and buy stuff from this Bang Boo shop, make it a different material or something, because I don't like having to spend the one resources on every single different asset of this Bang Boo to make him a little bit better. I think that is kind of obtuse. I think it doesn't really make a lot of sense, and I feel like it needs to be improved upon, or else like people are going to get really frustrated trying to get a decent Bang Boo leveled up, and they're just going to not feel like it's not worth it. Like, what is the point of leveling up different Bang Boos if it takes me this long to level up one, right? It's gonna get annoying, and people are going to have problems with it. And that leads me to another thing. This game, while I think it does a good job of explaining things later on within it, has so many tutorials when you first get into the game. There is an absurd amount of dialogue in its tutorials. I believe if we go over to the training section, this stuff right here is not stuff that they go over. These tutorials are not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the very start of the game tutorials. They are so long. They go over every single different detail of a character and like every single thing that can possibly happen. Look at all these stats. They have to explain every single one of those stats. Impact, anomaly, penetration, energy regen, all of it, what anomaly is, what different kind of character factions do, what every single different effect does. They go over all of it, and it is a lot of information right away, and it's gonna turn off people who can and don't want to read, right? It's gonna be annoying at the very beginning, but I promise you, once you get far enough into the game where you're able to just kind of play the game over and over again and actually get into the combat sections that are genuinely really good. This game has some great story sections and some great combat moments in the game. It gets a lot better, but that early, like the really, really early game where you're just trying to figure things out has so many goddamn tutorials in it. You're gonna get annoyed, but just power through it, skip it if you need to, and play the combat tutorials later. I promise you'll have a much better time. But I'm telling you right now, there is a real big problem with information overload right at the beginning of this game. It's just a fact. It just happens like crazy at the beginning, and then it slows down, and you can go back and you can go do the tutorials later. That is what I recommend, is just skip it for now and then do the tutorials for the characters that you like and figure it out from there. Do not sit through and read all those tutorials. You will get burnt out very quickly. The information overload is insane. That is pretty much all of my actual complaints, right? I don't really have too many things. It's just those like 4 major things that I kind of have an issue with, but there is a couple things that I think are worth mentioning, but aren't really major concerns for me. In the game, as you guys saw, we did have different events that are going to give you different amounts of free currency, right? I personally, again, because spending money is not a thing right now in the closed beta test, so I'm not going to spend money on this. This is basically completely free to play. I've been able to do so many summons already. Once the detail shows up, I can actually show you it. As you saw, I already did over 100 summons on the standard banner, right? If we look in the history, we can actually see how many of these like premium summons I've done. Like, just look at this. Look at how many free things that you get. And remember, at the beginning of a gacha game, it's always going to be like this, where you're going to be able to do a lot of these early summons. I have done almost 100 summons just on the premium banner, plus 100 summons on the standard banner, plus enough summons on the Bang Boo banner in order to get 2 S rank Bang Boos, which are unlocked at around 70-80 pity. Right. I've done a lot of summons. This game is not skimpy on the currency. It's just how they decide to divvy it up. If we go to any of these story commissions, every single one of these, right, whenever you get one of these little dots here, it'll give you 10 of the premium currency, unless it's a major story mission, where then it's going to give you like 20. So you get about 30 to 60 premium things per story mission, and there are quite a few of those. So there are a lot of premium things available here. Obviously, it's going to need to be supplemented with other things, because there's not always going to be new story missions. At the beginning, there's going to be a lot, but you're going to have to go through and you're going to have to actually play the game in order to actually get a lot of this currency. Now, the combat missions, they also give you 10 every single time you do these. The exploration missions, every single time you hit one of these benchmarks, you do get more premium currency. So there's a lot out there. Then they do have the Hollow Zero, which does give a significant amount of premium currency. The more you beat it, the more premium currency that you get, and that'll level up as you go forward and you complete it. They do also have a promotion going on right now. They probably will do that when the game launches, where if you do Hollow Zero a certain amount of times, you're going to get about 100 premium currency every single time you hit one of those milestones. And then you have Shiyu Defense, which is this game's Abyss, or Memory of Chaos, that kind of thing, where you do get premium currency from beating these for the first time in a certain amount of time. You can go ahead and you can check those rewards here. If you get S rank, you get 100. If you get A rank, you get 100. If you get B rank, you get 100. Right. Every single one of these, this is what you get. So you get a lot of decent rewards here every single time you beat one of these for the first time. So it is like a game that is not egregiously skimpy, right? They will give you enough pulls to get you at least one 5-star character right away. And then going forward, if you wanted to save up for a character down the line that you really, really like, or if you wanted to get, for instance, Ellen here, you'll be able to do that. There is more than enough premium currency in this game, especially if you factor in when the game does drop paid options, like the paid battle pass, like presumably the daily login stuff. There is more than enough in here for you to be able to get a bunch of premium currency. It's just going to be needed to be supplemented with other things, because obviously there's not going to be a constant stream of story mode content. I do think that this game has the potential to pump out story mode faster than a games like Honkai Star Rail or Genshin Impact, because of how they do the story mode. There is no overworld. They just do these little TV sections where you bounce through the TVs. There is a lot of the dialogue is contained between like 2 static models. They're just talking with text popping up on the screen. There is 2D sections where it's entirely drawn and not animated at all, that they have like just being voiced over. But there are also animated cutscenes that are really, really cool that I do have footage of. I'll probably throw that in here somewhere, right? Where those will probably take the longest amount of time, but I think that this game is able to pump out the story a bit more, so we're probably going to have a faster stream of story updates in this game as opposed to any of Puyo versus other games, just because of how they decided to handle overworld and like dialogue. So that's just my main thing, and I know a lot of people coming into the closed beta test and before the last one, they had a really big problem with the TV sections in a lot of these like missions, and I kind of get it. Apparently one thing that they did add that they didn't have before, you kind of saw it here when I went into this event, right? When you're in these TV sections, you're able to 2 times speed it, so that way you're not just sitting there and getting yapped to by like NPCs and by the characters. You can just kind of be like, nah, I don't want to listen to all that, and you can 2 times speed it and then speed run it, right? And then go through from there. So I do think that this is like a good change here. It allows this to be really, really quick. That way you're not sitting here forever doing whatever the hell it is that you need to be doing, right? So I don't think they're that bad. I know people just don't find them very interesting, which I do understand, and they're kind of confusing because there's like a bajillion mechanics in the TV sections, but I don't think that they're that bad. Plus, you can 2x speed it now. So overall, I think it's just like a minor thing that you're either going to hate it completely, you're going to be completely indifferent to it, or you're not going to care, right? So that's just my personal thoughts. Everything in this game is really, really interesting. I do like the combat a lot. I do really, really want it to succeed, and I will be making content of it when it drops. A lot of it is going to be streamed on my Twitch channel, so if you want to go over there, it is always going to be linked in the description below. So if you want to see this game more once it actually does come out, I will be keeping you guys updated on my personal journey through this game. Again, a lot of that will be on Twitch, so go ahead and follow me there if you want to see that. If not, I completely understand. If you've made it this far in the video, I completely appreciate it, and I understand it's a long time because I'm a yapper, but just know that I do appreciate it a lot. If you did like this and you want to hear more about Zenless Zone Zero going forward, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and leave a comment letting me know what you guys think about this game and what you want to see from either me or this game going on in the future. That's pretty much it for this video. I will see you guys all in the next one.